Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to an all-new episode of Let's Talk. I'm your host, Arkham Rashid. Now I know we haven't seen each other for quite some time, about 2 months since the month of Ramadan. So we're quite excited to do this all-new episode of Let's Talk. So I'm going to start off by welcoming my guest to this program. On my right-hand side, brother, if you can introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdullah Amir. I'm a graduate from Al-Azhar University, 25 years old.
All right, Abdullah, I think this is your first time with me on Let's Talk here.
Yes.
Yes,
Pleasure,
so
for sure.
we're looking forward for this. And Abdullah, what do you do for a living?
I'm an English trainer.
Okay,
I teach English and I teach some other like soft skills.
All right, that's perfect because our episode is about going back to school in the new school year. So we got some teachers on. Brother, if you can introduce yourself to the viewers.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed. I'm 25 years old. I'm Egyptian and I'm a teacher.
Okay, another teacher. I know you've been on the show before many times, and we've had many conversations here on Let's Talk. So it's wonderful to have you back.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
And two teachers here. Let's find out on this side. Go ahead, brother, if you can introduce yourself to the viewers.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name's Ilyas Townsend. Just hoping to start as hard, and I'm also a teacher. So.
Okay, that's it. Three. One more, brother. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Bilal Abdullah, 36 years old, originally from the United States, the great state of Indiana. Living in Egypt, married to an Egyptian. I'm a teacher at Rawad American College.
Okay, that's very interesting. This program will be interesting, inshallah. We have 4 teachers, and all of them are going to share their opinions and their ideas about starting the new school year. So, Abdullah, if I can start with you. Abdullah, as a teacher, what do you feel when the new year approaches?
I'm not teaching like elementary school, like in colleges. I teach like in centers. I teach like freelancing. So basically, like people are like just so, I don't know, so motivated when they come like some of them like they hate school for sure, but the others like they're so well like kind of prepared and motivated, and they want to come and like take something they want to learn. So for sure we feel the same, like we feel also motivated. We feel like we have this is like the season of teachers, like we get lots of students and like lots of money, lots of time, lots of like tiring and like all these things. So like we feel so happy. We feel like so energetic. I love teaching. It depends on the person. It's like a passion for me. I love dealing with people, getting to know more people, getting to know more students, changing their lives into better like things. So like I feel like so, excited for this.
All right, that's good to hear. Brother, if we can get your ideas on it. How do you feel when the new school year approaches?
I'm kind of a little bit like my brother Abdullah. I work as a trainer basically, but at the beginning of every school year, the students are kind of happy, and at the same they have mixed feelings. I'm happy because I'm back to school. I'll see my friends and stuff, but at the same time I can feel a lot of pressure on me because I want to get high score to make my parents proud of me, and at the same time for me to be proud of myself and to be satisfied, and at the same time for the people who are in a crucial stage, for example joining the faculty in the high school. You can imagine a lot of pressure at home for all the members of the family. No TV, no computer, no internet. Only you study because I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer and stuff. So it's between happiness and pressure, and we have to be well prepared for this year.
That's quite interesting. That's a very interesting input you put there. Ilyas, if I can come over to you, what's your thoughts on the new year as it approaches?
I believe for I teach adults, so there's no concept of year or. But when I was in London, when the new year was starting, when I was teaching in London, a lot of the children just didn't actually want to be there. They didn't want to be in school. They were enjoying their holidays, and so some of them were a bit down. But it depends on the age group. When you get a bit older, then as our brother Ahmed mentioned, the pressure starts to build up, especially around the age of 15, 16. Every year is crucial. So I'd just like to really reinforce what Ahmed said. There's some happiness, some sadness, but as you get a bit older, then you start to feel the pressure start to build up.
So far, all 3 of you guys, it seems like you've worked with adults mostly. Brother Bilal, if I can ask you, do you work with adults or children?
My background is teaching with both adults and children. Currently I'm teaching children at the kindergarten age.
Okay, that's perfect. So let's get some of your input into the situation here.
But the biggest thing for me is getting to know the children. You know, the biggest thing between the students and the teacher is being comfortable, introducing yourself, and the students must be confident that this is a good teacher and that he's likable, and you know, that they respect him. Also for the parents, that's very important for the parents to look and see, okay, is this guy qualified? Will he be a good teacher? I don't know. And also for my fellow colleagues, because I'm working at a new school this year, so I have co-teachers, I have a boss, obviously, and other people who are teaching other subjects around me. So it's really important to become a part of the team and mesh in well with everyone so that we can do the best for the children.
That's very interesting. Now, I want to take you guys a couple of years back, say about 10 years back, as students yourself, when you guys were in school. Maybe more than 10 years for some of us. But let's go into the past and try to remember how we used to feel when school approached, and what were good ways that we used to prepare for the school year, and what were good ways to start off the school year. So let's start with Abdullah.
I was like, I don't know, there was a habit, I think, in like young Egyptians, like, you know, children. We sleep with like school, like dress code. Yes, we sleep with it. So prepared, like, you know, our like new stuff. It's always like new things. Everything is new. Like, you know, your like shirt, your pants, your socks, everything. Like everything you have is like new. And new notebooks and like your bag and everything is new. Like you just like, you can smell it. I mean, like everything is new. Like you can kill yourself by the new smell you have. Yes, everything is new. And like at the same time, like we feel like so happy and like all these things till the time they woke us like up, like, you know, for school, like 6 a.m. or something to get ready and all these things, and this hassle at home. I don't know what happened, but like Egyptian homes, they're so loud in the morning. I mean, like everyone wants like to wake up. Everyone at the same time, like everyone wants to get ready. At the same time, like, you know, parents, they get lost in the middle, like, you know, they sleep here, like they walk us, like, you know, they put us like into the bathroom, go with your face, just like sleeping, still sleeping. It was really nice time, like, you know, no worries, relaxing. You just go like to see your friends, check new things, do new things, fights the first day, going back, like, you know, with, I don't know, bruises and stuff. It was really nice. I miss it. Yes, it's like no worries.
If they had cell phones back in the day, you would have seen him on YouTube a lot.
Selfie.
Brother, if we can ask you, how was it for you in school?
Actually, my experience with the first day is not that good at all. Different from me totally. I always got a headache. And
he was the one getting beat up.
And he had on old clothes.
Yeah, the problem is that I used to wake up late in the afternoon. So you're supposed to wake after you pray the dawn with your father, and then you stay up till you go to school. So that was not good for me, and because of that, I always got the headache. And there, the teachers come into the class, and every teacher, okay, I'm going to teach you blah blah blah, and I want you to get me to, for example, the book, to notebooks, calculator, and stuff. So yes, okay. So how about playing football? How about my friends? Am I going to see them today or what? And I get back home, and my father starts to speak to me. Okay, so come on, school has already started, so you have to study. That was when I was young, but in high school, I always, I liked school because I wanted to play football. I like football very much, and that was everything. Everything about school was playing football with my friends. I wasn't a good student, actually.
If his parents are watching this, that's why his grades were so low. Always playing soccer.
Yes, soccer. We must clarify. It's not football, it's soccer.
Yes.
Agreed.
It's how we say it in Egypt, football.
I know.
It's how they say it everywhere.
Yes, except the States.
Well, because our sport is the real one.
Oh, man.
It's unique.
I'm proud American here.
Well, agreed, so let's continue. Go ahead, Brother Ilyas. How was your school days back in the day?
Growing up in London.
Are we talking 70s or?
The 70s.
Why are you laughing? Yeah, growing up in London, no one wanted to go to school, to be fair. Like, the first day of school was always, oh, I'm back at school now. There was no excitement. Because the things that were exciting were not related to school. Like Ahmed said, he liked to play football.
Yeah.
When we used to go to school, it was the day, the first day was always the day to show off. Where you had your new shoes or your new bag, or it's a day of
now
just
it's like new phone, new gadgets.
you know, just you show off a little bit. So that was really it. I mean, meeting old friends, or if you come back from summer holidays in London or in England, it's 6 weeks. I don't know how long it is everywhere else. It's long over here, but either way, so it was nice to see new old friends. But other than that, I mean, beginning of school and the school year was just a bit of a drag. No one actually wanted to go.
Even if you liked it, you just had to be like.
Yeah, even if you liked it, secretly you had to be like, nah, I hated it.
I'll tell you something funny about Egyptian, like.
Because the teachers in school, they would say that the school is going to be the best time of your life, and everyone's like, "Oh, be quiet, man." But when you actually leave school, you realise this was like.
Yeah.
There's no pressure whatsoever.
Yes.
You come out of school and you're into college or university. That's when you start growing up and you've got responsibilities. But before that, it was just everything was calm, relaxed, laid back. Yeah.
Abdullah, you wanted to add something?
I want to add something, like, you know, maybe you recognize this. Egyptian culture thing, the first day of school is really important. Why? Because like you book your place, so like it's a race. Once you just like kind of like, right? Like I don't know, like you know it, Ahmed, right?
Yeah.
It's like once you like kicking off, start, all students as if they like school, as if it's not real. They just like go ran like their like kind of classes. They book for the places. They book like kind of here like. Cool guys, like they book at the end, at like the you know.
that's an international thing. All the cool kids say about.
I don't know. It's like it's a race here, like a race, like a rat race. I don't know how they call it, like, but it's a race. Really, really cool. Like.
No, but I knew my place. The last desk.
Yeah.
That was my place. Really, that was my place. I like that.
That's not good.
But if we can come to you, you didn't get a chance to share some of your stories from school.
Yeah, I was never at the end. I was somewhere in the middle or the upper middle, but never in the last. But African American culture and what you would call the urban environment. We don't call it that, but okay. For us, going to school, and so it was a fashion show, and it was all about, you know, the girls liked you based upon what clothes you had. And that's what really puts you out in front of if you would be in that upper echelon popular thing, you know. So I made out okay. But you know, but some of us actually did care about academics, you know. I did. My favorite subjects were social studies, history, science was okay. English, even though I teach it today, I never liked English. You're just learning grammar, right? And math was always my worst subject. And today it still is. If I can count from 1 to 2, I'm doing good. But I mean, school, I remember, as the brother to my right said, he said that the teachers would say, this is the best time of your life. And I heard that a lot on the other side of the Great Pond, which is America. And it's true. Like, I heard that, and I would say, yeah, it was a great time. I mean, there was no responsibilities, and you had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And I still remember a lot of my teachers from those days who were really great people.
Yes. All right, now since we got a feel of our viewers, our guests today, now we want to get into what are good ways in which we can plan our school year and, you know, and try to achieve as much as we can during the academic year. So again, let's start with Abdullah.
I want to speak a little bit serious now, like, because school, unfortunately, like, it depends on the area. It depends, like, where you're from and, like, which school, which teacher, and all these things. And all your parents should know, like, all these things. They lack this awareness. I mean, like, they don't have this awareness of, like, school will not teach you everything. Unfortunately, like, kids, like, they just, like, put their kids in school, and, like, they think, like, they will teach them every single thing about their lives, and, like, they just, like, he takes care of, like, of the money, she takes care of food preparation, cleaning and stuff, and that's it. So, like, preparing for school wasn't that, like, you know, I don't know. People think like just like you go to school, as you said, like you should study. I will block you from like prevent you from doing anything fun for the sake of like school to get like higher marks, like to get like to be an engineer, doctor, or whatever, like the position or like what's catching on these days, and that's it. But real study, teaching them like the behaviors, manners, the foundation of sciences, all the stuff like this, it doesn't happen. I mean, I always speak about my culture. It's not that popular here to get ready and teach them how to learn. I mean, like you should learn how to learn.
Yeah,
This is not included, unfortunately.
That's quite interesting, actually. Very important point as well.
Yes, I like what my brother said, but I have some addition. The students here, they always panic about homework and about study, and you know they find themselves, there's a kind of suddenly change. A week ago, you used to play and you used to pass the whole day entertaining yourself, and once you get into school, you just leave everything, you leave the playing, you leave that watching TV and everything, and you just focus on your lessons and you study your homework. This is a big problem, that you start like that with putting yourself in this much pressure. This makes you you're not going to be good at studying or getting what's inside the book. So hitting the book from the very beginning is really bad for our students. Okay, why not playing? So the students in my culture, they get back from school and they start to study what they took at school, do the homework, and then the day is up, and then they go to bed. And at the weekend, they start to revise. To review what was the whole week around.
Private courses.
So yes, okay, you can study, but don't forget that you get some time for playing, get some time for playing sports and for watching TV.
Yeah,
right?
it's very important to have a balance. It's a good point.
Yes, exactly. So it's not that difficult at all.
Yeah, and that usually happens. You find these kids are playing throughout the whole summer and having so much fun. Then out of nowhere, when it's school time, everything is cut out, and it doesn't work that way. You need to, decrease the amount they're playing, the amount of TV they're watching before the school year begins, so they fit into the school year. And then once they're in the school year, you can't cut it all out completely. They need playing time, and school shouldn't be a place where it's just study. There should be activities. It should be fun for the children who want to go there. Ilyas, what do you think about planning your year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really is dependent on the age of the students. We're talking about very young. It's going to be very difficult. But when we're getting slightly older, maybe 15, 16, I think it's important to start thinking about the people who you're going to be studying with, because it's important to have a good group of friends. In school you might have the kid that's really smart. I mean, you should befriend him, because he may be very smart in an issue that you're not too good with, and he maybe can explain things to you in a way a teacher couldn't. So I think that's crucial, actually. So we start to learn to take our subjects outside of the classroom, because unfortunately sometimes, or the way it is in London, or I'm pretty sure everywhere in the world, when you're out of school there's no study. There's none whatsoever. But if we can actually create a way to make our topics interesting, like Bilal mentioned that he likes history, like he liked learning history in school. So let's just say Bilal's in school and he's got a history lesson. Now, when he's outside of school, maybe there's a student who's good at history, so maybe Bilal can actually discuss history with him. That will open his eyes to the topic that much more. Now for us who came to Egypt wanting to learn about Islam, it's very easy to do that. Like if I'm having a conversation with Bilal or with Arqam, and it's about Islam, I'm going to learn. But even though it doesn't feel like I'm actually learning, or with Abdullah or Ahmed, it's the same thing. So it's about discussing the topics in school outside of that environment, and you'll find that you will soak up things so much easier. But if you go in with the mindset of I have to learn everything else in this book, and this is the way to do this and this is the way to do that, it can become very difficult. So I personally found that learning through other people, making it part of the actual culture, my culture, I found that was a great way of increasing my knowledge without me even knowing it.
And I also think, like, for example, making plans. So this is generally for an older audience.
Yeah.
Obviously, kids are a lot different.
Yeah.
The teachers and the parents would decide, study plan for them. But once you're older in university, in university, then I mean, you need to be responsible for yourself,
Yeah.
and then you need to make certain plans. So you'll have yearly goals. What do you want to complete by the end of? So obviously, you have your regular curriculum. What else do you want to do? How many books do you want to read? How much more do you want to educate yourself? Because education is not only in school, and each year you need to see yourself grow. So I think it's important that you have a yearly goal and then divide that monthly. So each month, say for example, in the whole year you want to do 24 books. That means each month you need to be finishing 2 books, reading by yourself. Then weekly goals, and then just daily goals, what you're going to do today, what subjects do you have tomorrow, when are you going to discuss, like you said, Bilal likes history. We're going to keep going on Bilal likes history. So like Bilal likes history, well, he wants to join the history club. What day is that? But make a nice schedule, have everything planned out. So by the end of the year, when you look back in the beginning of the year, you're like, wow, I've accomplished so much. Like I'm a different person than I was in the beginning of the year. What do you think, Bilal?
Well, I have 2 main points. The first one is, like when I'm dealing with young children, for me it's about edutainment, education and entertainment. Because to be honest with you, I love history. Maybe he likes math, maybe he likes science, whatever. But that's like 3 out of 15 children. They're going to be most of the other kids that only really care about cartoons and milk and cookies, right? So the thing is how to keep them engaged, because the parents want the information in their brain, right? And you got to get it in there. So how are you going to do it? So for me, edutainment is finding innovative and fresh ways to educate children in an entertaining way to keep their attention, because it's very easy for them to lose focus and they're all over the place. Now that's for the young children to keep their focus, etc.
Is that an actual term, or you pinned that together yourself?
No, I didn't do it. It's not a Bilal original, but I do have some I can give you guys. No, edutainment is 2 words. The first part is edu for education. Yeah. Second part is tainment for entertainment. Yeah. So we put those together. It's an American thing, and we put it. Sorry, Britain. But anyway, we put those things together. It's not a word. It's just a term. It's a term that explains how to keep people engaged in what you're trying to give them. Because everyone just can't sit and listen to a lecture and someone talking. Hello, we will open page 5. Page 5 is titled. You're gonna just jump, right? So, edutainment is it can be the idea of edutainment can be for all ages from 4 to 44 to 104, right? It depends upon how you apply it. But now I'm mostly applying it to kindergarten children, because those are the ones where it is the most. Oh, you're writing that down, huh? Good man. It is the most important too, right? Now, the other phase is when you have older people, as you said before, they're already motivated because they're taking that class, right? Maybe I'm teaching English for adults, or maybe I'm in America teaching a high school class or 7th and 8th grade class. So what am I doing? Well, basically, my point here is, 1, to teach critical thinking, how to help an individual to think for him or herself, right? And you also spoke about, well, a lot of learning happens outside of school. Listen, I'm mostly self-taught. I learned most of what I know outside of school. I just applied it and filled out the bubbles on a little book, on a test in school. So the thing for me is teaching people also how to research, where to take sources from. Wikipedia is not your source for everything, right? It really isn't. What books to read, who is a reputable author or a reputable publisher, right? So my thing is for older publisher. Right, so my thing is for older people, critical thinking, and also how to research properly and compile information.
Exactly. And I also think for older students as well, like high school age students, it's very important for teachers to also encourage them to seek knowledge. So sometimes you'll have students that don't really want to learn, but you need to show them the importance and the benefits of learning, and get them excited about it, get them interested in learning itself. I think that's very important as well, especially for high schoolers, because you'll have loads of people, like Bilal said, that are not interested. You know, you'll have a person here, a person there that likes history, that likes math, that likes science, but you'll have students that are not interested. They're just there to play soccer.
The biggest thing is making the subject applicable to the life of that student. Because people always say, and I hate math, I do, but people always say, well, math, how does trigonometry and algebra apply to my life? So you have to teach them that, well, why is it applicable? Why is it relevant for you? Or science or history, etc. Like, how does it apply to your everyday life? That's one of the tricky things about teaching.
Abdullah, I know you want to say something, but before you say anything, we're going to watch a short video, so stay tuned.
If you want to get your students to follow your instructions, it stands to reason that you need their attention first. It's no use talking to them if they're not listening to you. Now that can be really hard to achieve with a tough group of students, a noisy group of students. So in this quick video, I'm going to go through 5 different ways of getting the attention of your students so that when you talk to them, when you give them your instructions, they're actually listening to you. Now some of these are applicable for older students, some are more suitable for younger students, and they might not all suit your particular teaching style, but they do give you something to think about. They're a good starting point. First one we're going to cover is noisemakers. And noisemakers come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but the one I use when I'm doing workshops and when I'm teaching is a bugle horn. Now the bugle horn is effective for 2 reasons. One, it's quite loud, so it does get their attention. And the other, it's a little bit silly, it's a bit humorous. And that takes the sting out of getting their attention. Because if you're constantly shouting at them, telling them to look this way, listen to me, I want your attention, it kind of nags them. You get them down. They get annoyed, they get frustrated, they get sick of hearing you. So the noisemaker is a way of getting attention without you constantly shouting at them. And you can use different noisemakers. You can use cymbals, you can use shakers, you can use cowbells, you can use tambourines, any kind of musical instrument, or even just clapping. And you can assign a different noisemaker for a different phase of the lesson, such as the start of an activity or the end of an activity, or to come to the front and sit around the board. Noisemaker is very effective for that. The second one we're going to look at is a routine. Now routines are incredibly effective if they're done right. If you teach your routines, if you reinforce them, if you embed them and make them habitual for your students, what you effectively do is you train them to respond in a certain way, kind of like Pavlov's dogs, but in a positive way. I'll explain one of the routines I use so you can see what I mean. I'll assign the role of shusher to different members of a group. And it's their job to get the group quiet on my behalf, to do my job basically, getting their attention for me. So when I call shushers, the shushers will stand up and they will shush the rest of the group. And a gentle hush tends to descend on the whole group. It's actually surprisingly effective, and the reason why it's so effective is the people I assign that role to tend to be the ringleaders in the group. They tend to be those strong personalities that need attention. They're the ones that are generally usually causing you the most problems. They're the ones that are always acting up and always arguing. The reason why they're doing that is because they need some form of empowerment. They need some form of attention. So you give them that attention in an appropriate way by giving them a responsibility. And it's surprising how often they do respond positively to that and they do act on your behalf. The other reason it's effective is because obviously with those people being the ringleaders, the other students naturally tend to follow them and do as they say anyway. So that routine works really, really well. Another routine you might try is the hands up routine, and you would explain to your students, when I put my hands up and you see me putting my hand up, that means it's time to stop talking. What I need you to do is put your hand up with your mouth closed and look this way. Now some students will see you straight away, and straight away their hands will go up in the air and they'll be quiet, and they might nudge their friends, he's got his hand up. Some students will be writing, busy, or they might just be talking, or they might just choose to completely ignore you. So you basically build in a consequence. The last person to have their hand up, then there's a consequence that follows. And you'll get some students who put their hands up and they carry on talking. Well, that's doubly insulting, so you build in a consequence for them as well. So routines, very, very effective. The next one is the visual reminder. And visual reminders, one of the simplest ones is the traffic lights reminder. Now this is a small version of the traffic lights. What you would have is much bigger cards, and you might want to cut them into circles so that they do actually look like traffic lights. Basically it works like this. You've got green, and when the green card is up on the wall, that means noise levels are fine. Noise levels are perfectly acceptable. Carry on working. Wonderful. If noise levels get too high, then you might put a warning on the board, and that's your amber traffic light, or in this case yellow, because we haven't got an amber card. And when students see the amber card up, then they know it's time to be wary and start dropping noise levels a bit. But if they carry on, if they get too high, you explain to them that when the red card is up, as soon as that red card goes up, they have 30 seconds to stop talking and be looking this way. And we stop the activity and we start again. from green once we've got them quiet. So that's one way of using visual reminders. And again, visual reminders just take away your need to be using your voice all the time. Next we've got the unexpected. And the unexpected is absolutely guaranteed to get the attention of any group, because it works like this. Your students are used to coming into the room and seeing things set out in a certain way. But what you do is you completely bamboozle them by setting things up in a totally different way. You might have some equipment set up, you might have a demonstration set up, you might have all the lights off and some music playing in the background. You might have some props wrapped up in a bag or a box. You might even have some refreshments set out in the corner of the room. Your students are naturally inquisitive, everyone is. And so as soon as they see this break in the norm, they want to know what's going on. What's all this about? What's going on? What's that for? What's that for? And that gives you the perfect time to say, I'll tell you as soon as you're quiet. And in their desperation to know what's going on, it's likely that they'll quieten each other down. Okay, the last one is the countdown, and it's probably one of the most effective and well-known ways of getting a group quiet. It's basically a routine, and you count down from 10 to 1 or 5 to 1, and on your way down, you're praising those who are doing it right and you're explaining what they've got to be doing. Okay, so it would be 5. I need everyone packed up. You need to be sat down in your own seat, looking this way, with your books away, your equipment away, and all rubbish off the floor. Okay, fantastic, that table. You're doing it straight away. And that table. Thank you very much. 4, let's go. Okay, well done, this table. That's brilliant. I can see you picking all the rubbish up. Thank you very much. 3, we're nearly there. We're just waiting for this table to stop talking and get that rubbish off the floor. Thank you very much. Well done. 2, nearly there, all looking this way now, bags on the top, thank you very much. 1, brilliant, absolutely great. Okay, 5 ways to get attention from...
Enjoyed that short and inclusive videos. The person in the video made some very interesting points about studying in classroom settings. So before we actually watch that video, our brother here, Abdullah, was going to say something, so I'll let him go ahead.
I was speaking about the part he was mentioning regarding like, I don't like math, you like science, you like this, you like this. We're different now, so we should know what they want, and like we should put them like in focus groups. I do this. Like when I found like some students, they love like topic, I put them into like kind of a class, or like put them into like more specialized thing. The second thing, like we should know more about like the learning style thing. Some students, they learn like, you know, fast by visual things. Some students, like they learn by doing like activities, like, you know, being active, interactive learning things. Some people, like they learn like by just listening or like acting or like reading or writing. So we should know their learning style and put them together in focus groups, and like they will be more productive than this. In my way, I think like this is...
I actually agree with the idea with the focus group, where you divide the class by, like, for example, Bilal would have been in the history focus group. And I mean, that's very interesting, especially if you're, when it comes to teaching English to foreigners, if you have this sort of theme, the interest groups, and, you know, what they already enjoy, what subjects they already enjoy, and then they use words that are related to that subject. I mean, it helps them speak more, and it helps them... go ahead. You want to say?
Yes. Well, I like that grouping students. Grouping is very important for a teacher, and it's important for a teacher as well, is to start with the students as a kind of icebreaker. To stay with the student and to start to speak personally, face to face, to befriend the student. What are the problems of the student? What things he likes, things he doesn't like. His favorite kind of learning, because we know that all of us we have different styles of learning. Some people like like watching, some people like listening. They learn quickly by listening. Other people like moving around and sharing, participating in games. So this is very important for a teacher. If you want to be successful and if you want to do a great job with your students, you have to be with them as a friend. Okay,
that's a very good point. You need to understand the students.
To know to befriend them. It's very good for a student to come to the teacher, and if he has a problem with his family, okay, know that you are very close. You are inside your student's heart when he comes to you and explains some problem with his father, some problem at home. So here that you are very close to your student. So this encourages you to be with him and to do your best to teach him something.
Man, that's really personal.
Yes, it's personal. But at the same time,
I was going to say, because in London it's very different. You can't really have a personal relationship with a student. That's why as teachers we're taught to be friendly, but not to make friends with the students.
But it's not personal. I mean, you know,
What
when a student loves you,
what I think he means is to understand,
trust.
to understand and to understand how the student learns. So by observing them, you can see some students learn better visually, while others would just read something and understand it really good. So you can give this person material, you can give this person extra videos he can watch at home. He can log on to certain websites.
I think what hit us was the fact when he said, well, if a student was coming to you, oh, my father this, and it was the personal issue. Like as he was saying, he's from Britain, I'm from America, and one of the problems is, like in our countries, there's a lot of issues with haram things going on between teachers and students of any ages, of any groups, anywhere.
Wow.
And it's also a liability issue. And things happen, and also lies are spread, rumors are spread that harm the credibility of the teacher. And so for us, we try to keep hands off. Like for me personally, I don't like anyone to physically touch me. Even especially the children. Like if a child, you know, they like you, you may sing a little song for them, the ABC song or anything, and they like you and they want to give you a hug and say, you know, these things. Me, like, no, don't touch me, no physical contact, or I don't want to know your personal business, what your mother said last week and your father this, none of that, you know. It's liability, you know, and I like to keep myself above reproach. I do understand what you're saying in regards to, it's a cultural thing, you know, because on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, we frown upon that.
Okay, well, that's right. It may be too personal, but it's very good when a student comes to you and you know and tells you about some of his problems. You know, here you know that there's someone who loves you. The student loves you very much, and when a student loves his teacher, okay, this makes it better for him to learn more, and you know to learn better and in a quicker way.
Clearly, I can see two different cultures.
Yeah,
I see the mindset.
I don't want
here
you to love me.
And growing up in the U.S., you know, it's the same thing. You can't get too close with students. None of that. But I can see the cultural difference where, you know, he's saying, what's wrong with that? What do you mean? It's good for the students to like you.
Well, maybe I'm too friendly.
You to show
too friendly. Man. I think it's because you were getting beat up in school and now you want to love you.
And you're too tough.
Which kind of leads me to the next thing I wanted to get into was to figure out what are some of the obstacles that students of all ages could face during the school years, and how can we overcome these obstacles, or how can people who are watching this find ways to overcome these obstacles? Go ahead.
Saying I love you. That's a major obstacle.
Or to actually learning, or?
Yeah, to learning, or just to get in the way of their studies, or you know, make them want to drop out of school, things like this.
I think one of the great obstacles to learning is not planning our time effectively, and you know, so far in the show today, we've been discussing a lot of, you know, terms and situations where the student actually wants to learn, or he might find learning easy, but when something's not going in, sometimes the student can just want to leave everything.
And he gets frustrated.
He gets frustrated. And I believe in this situation, students need to be very open. If they don't understand something, they need to say, look, sir or miss, or I don't understand this, could you explain this again? Because sometimes it can be very embarrassing to say in a public setting, I don't understand, you know. Or if they don't want to say it in the class, maybe after lesson, go and speak to the teacher and say, look, I'm struggling with this. I need you to explain this, or, you know, so we don't want to leave our lessons not understanding what happened. You know, so it's important for the teacher also to make sure that every student understands what's happening. So for example, when I was learning about teaching, we would always try to get to the students to give us the answers rather than give the answers. So rather than saying 2 + 2 = 4, say, what does 2 + 2 equal? And then you get the students to give the answers rather than give them the information.
Yes.
You know, I think that's important. Making sure the student is comfortable. To make mistakes is important because we learn by making mistakes, but also making a student comfortable, or making us comfortable to ensure that we understand the topic before we go on to other topics.
That's
Actually, I was
yeah,
saying,
sure.
I'm teaching, I'm training actually, and as a trainer, like I read their faces. I read like what they don't understand, they understood this or that. Like I can see like their faces. Like someone like, oh yeah, I get it. Someone like no idea what he's talking about. So we must like what Ahmed is speaking about. Like I'm doing something called like coaching sessions with them. Like 15 minutes after the class. Like I'm taking 1 or 2, sit down with them, telling them about my feedback, like like I'm making a profile for this, and like they get like too friendly, and like they speak about anything. Sometimes like sometimes like they don't speak English at all, so I encourage them to speak about any experience they have. It could be a personal thing, at home, at school, at work, or anything. But like I need to measure and like see and like place or like a placement test for you, like see like which level you are, like how did you improve or not, stuff like this. So you should kind of read their minds and check like if they get it or no, and you should kind of make a follow-up. That's what we need, like the following up thing. Like
I mean, but kids also get good at poker faces, so
especially American kids. Oh,
yeah. I mean, so you can say something and be like, everybody understand it? Be like, yeah, of course I understand. That's easy.
No, but for this,
but even that question, you should never, if you're a teacher, never ask a student, do you understand?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say yes.
I was going to say that.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Who's gonna say no to
But
this?
it's so
Main
easy.
mistake.
It's so easy to get like the students who don't get anything like this culture. I'm teaching students like mostly Egyptians, and like some of them like were like Japanese or like Koreans or like Bangladesh, like Japanese and Koreans. They just like look like the same. But I'm confused. I don't know whether you understand or no.
They're perfect students, and
they get it
learn
right.
Discipline and respect.
Exactly.
In their culture.
And like, they get it right. So like I'm confused now. Egyptians like I know, and they know everything. Like just like smile and look at you. Like they look smart. When like they don't get anything, they look so bad. But like I was facing this. So like you should kind of know how to read their faces, to read their like kind of. You don't say like you understand me. Yeah, I understand you. Next point. No. Ask them. Maybe like kind of try to pick on someone. Like try to like if you're kind of suspicious about someone, you didn't get it. Like just ask them a question, stuff like this, and like and like explain it again. I do this always. It works with me.
I think one important thing is the class dynamic between the students themselves, because sometimes one of the biggest problems you can face in teaching is there's somebody among the students who is blocking the others from learning. So you have to identify the problems. Oh, that was you. That was you. That wasn't me. That wasn't, well, sometimes, depending on what day of the week it was. But so you have to identify who the problem is. That doesn't mean the answer is not to completely isolate them. You may need to put them in a place. But if it's a child, you don't want to completely isolate them because they want attention. They will only increase. Sometimes it's best to bring them closer to you and give them more attention because that's what they need. Maybe they're not getting attention at home, and school is the only place they can get it. For adult students, I've even had problem students from adults. They talk too much, they joke too much, they don't want to listen. And so what they need the most is a talking in the corner and letting them know there's some pressures on them to improve, and that usually works with adults.
Here's what I do. Like it's really, really nice. It works with me every time. When I find a troublemaker, for example, like we have a rule like no Arabic in the class, and like this person like no English in the class. Like he speaks Arabic all the time. Like he like bothers people, prevents them from doing anything. So I just like turn him into a real friend to me, and I make him like, hey. I just like do coaching thing and I encourage him, motivate him, like push him to speak and all these things. And at the same time, I assign to be the class leader. Like if somebody speaks Arabic, he takes money from him, like stuff like this. So he's the one who's helping me now, not like kind of doing this. So you turn like not an enemy, but like you turn him into a real friend to you. And it works. It works with me. Like some people that they couldn't do anything and now they're the best. I love doing this, like encouraging them and like knowing what to do with the troublemakers, with people like who sleeps, with the people who work really introverted and that they cannot speak. So like you deal with people in a very like different styles.
Yeah, this also works for children. It's actually I try that too with some of my kindergarten students, and it's actually a good point. When I was younger, they didn't employ that; they just beat us. But so this is some new 21st century techniques that you learn in college, and it actually is a very good thing. It's taking their energies and turning it around on them in a positive way.
And I think that's very important because if you notice, like the students that get isolated, they don't automatically like learning because you're isolating them. I mean, it's not like they go to the corner and sit there and say, what did I do wrong to sit in this corner? I mean, there's still
and the behavior
children.
becomes worse. The behavior becomes worse, yeah.
I mean, it's the teacher's job and responsibility to find a way to encourage the student how to learn and how to overcome these obstacles. If we can go to you guys didn't share some of the obstacles. You were just commenting on their obstacles.
Some obstacles of what? Like
some things that can get in the way of a student planning his year, a student studying during his year, and things that can make him drop out of school, things that can lose his interest in studying and in actually finishing the year.
Well, I think it depends on the stage as well. But the most difficult of all is that teenagers, you know, for teenagers, their life is they have, you know, different things they care about. Like maybe they have something like emotional problem, especially when he likes some sport and he has a hobby, and it takes him away from his study and from his work. So dealing with teenagers and their problems, this is the most difficult stage. And I think it's the responsibility of both the brother and the teacher is to identify the problems and to start to deal with them, to encourage them. Okay, you can do something, okay, but in this way. But at the same time, don't forget that you have lessons and you have homework to do at home. That's for teenagers. To dealing with teenagers, this is the most difficult thing for both parents and for the teacher.
Interesting. Abdullah?
What I was saying that the biggest thing I see that blocks them from getting anything from school is like they don't know the rule of the school and their rule towards like kind of getting and seeking knowledge. I mean, like I joined this course, I joined this college, I joined this department. What they will do to me? They will change what? And what are like my responsibilities and my rules, my like kind of steps and goals and all these things to get what I want at the end. I want to be educated, like get a certificate, and that's it. You will get a certificate of attendance, basically. Like if you're taking a course with me, stuff like this. But what we do is like kind of is outside, based on you first. I mean, like you should know your vision. We like this. Like, you know, what do you want to do in your life? I want to get this, yeah. So school will help you this 10%, 20%, 90%, but you have to do, like you have to work on yourself at the same time. So we lack of planning. Because we plan, the plan is no plan. And if you fail to plan, they say what? You plan to fail. Exactly.
I think one thing to remember also, for those who are teaching anywhere from kindergarten to high school, is that you must have a relationship with the parents. They must know you. You must introduce yourself to them and have an open path of communication to be able to speak about whatever problems or even successes, whatever the case may be, with their child/student. I think a lot of things happen, especially in the West, where you're teaching the children something, or even in the East, you're teaching the children something, but it's not being reinforced at home. And a lot of parents don't realize that they are the greatest teachers and the first and foremost teachers of their children. And if what we're doing from 9 to 3 is not being reinforced at home, nothing we say or do in the classroom will make any difference or will stick. It'll be like they put their money into a private school or into a national school for nothing. And that's one of the biggest things. People think that you'll just take your child, get that child to a school, they'll wave a magic wand, fix them however they want it to be. They'll go home to whatever environment that they have, and it doesn't work like that. You know, one thing I can tell you is you can walk into a home before you meet the student and before you meet the parent. If you just walk into their home, you will know what kind of student you will have. How? I'll say very quickly. If you walk into the home and the most prominent object in that home is the TV, you're gonna have a problem. If you walk into the home and you see a library and some kind of studious environment where there's some kind of learning going on at home, then you're going to have a good student. So those things. So you have to have a partnership with the parents to work out problems.
All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time for this conversation in this episode, so I want to thank you guys for joining me here on Let's Talk.
Yes.
And dear viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I just want to quickly rephrase, or not rephrase, I just want to re-say what Brother Bilal said. It's very important that the parents support their kids, because no matter what the teachers are doing from 9 to 3, when they come home, if the parents are not giving a supportive environment and a environment in which the students or their kids kids are willing to learn and just when they come home they just leave everything that they learned in school and the parents are not looking into what they're doing, then the student's not going to go anywhere. So it's very important for the parents to take or to be involved in their children's lives. Other than that, I hope to see you guys next week, and until then, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.